When I started making this video, I was having trouble deciding if it should be an informative, mod showcase style video where I go over all of the new features with the full 1.0 release, or if it should be a gameplay, funny moments, and highlights kind of video, where I show just how fun and chaotic this randomizer can be. But you know what? Why not both? Suicide bomber trees? What the hell is that? That was... So good. Oh. No! Okay. So like... Oh no. Oh, okay. He caught the ground. If you're not familiar with Tears of the Kingdom's randomizer, let me give you a quick rundown. Chest contents, quest rewards, and monster drops are all randomized. But the most important part of this is the Randomizer Cycle, which will do something random once every set amount of time, like give you a weapon, or take away a piece of armor, or change the weather, or make a certain enemy start spawning everywhere. This is the real bread and butter of the randomizer, so I set the randomizer cycle to its fastest speed so something crazy happens every few seconds. The next major function of the randomizer is the goal mode, which just gives you some random goals you need to complete before you can face Ganondorf, like taking a picture of something or completing a specific shrine. When I started streaming this, I figured we'd do a quick little goal mode with maybe 10 goals, just to see what's new. But chat had a different idea. We've got 99, 20, 160, 69, 50, 1 bajillion, okay, 69. That's 2 votes for 69. God, that's a lot of goals. 15, 50, 30, 69, oh my god. We are all over the place. Do the funny number. 30, 56. God damn. Alright, we're gonna do 69. Thankfully, the randomizer staff, a staff that sits in your weapon inventory and acts as a menu for the randomizer, organizes these goals for you, grouping them together by category. But when you have 69 goals, it's still pretty painful to have to mash A through every goal just to check if you've completed something, so I recommend you do not follow in my footsteps here. Before I could start diving into the goals, I had to complete the Great Sky Island and get my paraglider from Pura. The Great Sky Island went pretty smoothly. When you enter a shrine, you have a random chance to get any of the 4 Zonai abilities.
You sure about that?
But it lets you keep that ability if you exit the shrine without completing it, so that way you can take it to the shrine where it's needed. So the bad news is, you have to do some bouncing around between the shrines if you want to complete them. The good news is, you don't need to complete them. You can just enter the 4 shrines, get your abilities, and then hope that by the time you reach the Temple of Time, the randomizer has blessed you with an extra heart so you can leave. The only struggle I had on the Great Sky Island is that the randomizer decided I should be hunted for nearly the entire time I was on the island, but without any scary music to warn me of my impending doom. Break. No. Get. Okay. Almost there. We just... No. I just want to get into Ascend. Alright, see ya. No! He just sneaks up on you, dude. Like, I knew he was around, but he left me alone for so long. He let me think I was safe. Oh, by the way, the randomizer told me that if you don't subscribe to me, it's gonna send Phantom Ganon after you in real life. So, you should probably subscribe to me. I'm sorry, I'm just the messenger. Anyway, unlike in the Breath of the Wild randomizer, where the paraglider is a guaranteed reward, Pura won't give you the paraglider when she's supposed to, which can make getting around Hyrule a lot more tedious. Thankfully, the randomizer cycle gave me the paraglider before I even left Lookout Landing, and I'm fairly certain that that's because the paraglider has a much higher chance of being randomly given to you than most other items. But even if you aren't lucky enough to get the paraglider early like me, one of my favorite new features can help you out with that. If you equip the randomizer staff, you can now access the randomizer shop, where you can spend rupees to get a bunch of different items. And since the randomizer cycle is constantly depositing rupees in your bank account, you'll be able to make a lot of purchases in this shop. So you would just need to wait a little while until you have enough rupees to buy some key items, and you'll get the paraglider in no time. I used this method to get most of the key items I needed for my goals. Okay, now on to the 69 goals. I decided to tackle one category at a time for the most part, starting with completing some shrines. Another fun feature of the randomizer is that whenever you try to fast travel somewhere or enter a shrine, it has a high chance to take you somewhere completely different. So when I would find a shrine, I would enter it, get teleported into the wrong shrine, fast travel back to the shrine I needed, and keep entering it until it let me in. This may sound tedious, but it's actually pretty fun seeing where it takes you, and it helps you fill out your map with fast travel points, making it easier to get around in the future. But once you're in the shrine, you can't let your guard down because Waikuteru also figured out how to insert random elements into shrines. But like it's... Shrine Gibdos? No, 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 no. Why? I didn't know they could spawn inside of shrines. That's the worst thing that could ever happen. I never want to see another shrine again. An important thing to mention here is that another big feature has been helping me out a lot in the background while I make my way through the shrines. Two of the goal categories that I had are Obtain and Possess. Obtain just means I need to get that item at some point, and Possess means I need to have that item in my inventory when I go to face Ganondorf. So basically, once I get it, I have to hope that the randomizer cycle doesn't take it away from me. The good news is, the randomizer increases your chances of getting all of these items that you have Obtain and Possess goals for, so I pretty much completed all of my Obtain goals before I even left the Great Sky Island. Okay, now back to the shrines. For the most part, these were really easy to complete. The only issue I encountered was my own stubbornness. A couple of the shrines I needed to get were in the sky mazes, and at the time I didn't have many Zonai devices, and I had no steering sticks. So, from the small chunks of Sky Island underneath the Akala maze, I stubbornly spent half an hour trying to use what few Zonai devices I had to make my way up to the maze. While I was showing off my complete lack of engineering skills, the randomizer kept abusing me with another one of its fun features. This time I'm using fun sarcastically because sometimes the cycle will just disable pieces of your armor for like 10 seconds. The idea of this is that it happens in the middle of combat to make things more challenging, but in reality it kinda just makes things more annoying because you get pantsed every 5 minutes and have to go back into your inventory to put your armor back on. If there was a way for it to automatically put your armor back on for you once it's re-enabled, then this would be a good feature. Anyway, the Maze Shrine. I ended up coming back later once I learned how to properly abuse some of the randomizer's systems. I launched myself from the Skyview Tower in Akala and started gliding towards the maze, using Toolin to boost myself frequently since another feature of the randomizer is that it greatly lowers the cooldown for all Sage abilities, which, by the way, I just got Toolin randomly. I also got help from a couple other systems, like how every time the cycle gives you an item that creates a pop-up like this, your stamina gets fully restored. And occasionally, the cycle will create strong winds pointing in a random direction, which often helps to gain a lot of elevation if you just have your paraglider out. Between these three things, I was able to make it to the Sky Maze and complete all the shrines. While I'm on the topic of weather and atmosphere effects, I just want to show a few of the other cool effects that the randomizer cycle can enable, like complete depths darkness over all of Hyrule, a low gravity zone anywhere, and these cool purple and green atmosphere effects to give Hyrule some different vibes. Alright, that's enough of that, back to the goals. I decided the next best goals to tackle were the Light Roots and the Dragon Tears. The Light Roots were honestly light work, considering how Tears of the Kingdom's randomizer handles random teleportation. In the Breath of the Wild version of this randomizer, you would just get teleported to a random location very frequently, and it got pretty annoying. But with the TOTK version, you occasionally just get a pop-up telling you that the randomizer is trying to teleport you somewhere. It tells you what it's trying to teleport you to, and you get to choose if you want to accept the teleport or not. So it doesn't completely derail your progress every few minutes. This helped out a lot because it kept wanting to teleport me to random light routes, so I was able to sweep those up quickly. The dragon tiers were very confusing because each dragon tier will give you a random memory. But if you look closely at the goal, it says examine tier, not obtain memory. So the memory the tier gives you is irrelevant. You just need to examine the tier that normally corresponds with the memory listed. For example, this tier location just north of the Gerudo Highlands is supposed to give you the Zelda and Sonia memory, but instead it gave me the Sage's Vow memory. But after examining the tier, it checked off the Zelda and Sonia goal, but not the Sage's Vow goal. Make sense? No? Too bad, we're moving on. While I'd been clearing out shrines, activating light routes, and finding dragon tiers, I also completed some of my more minor goals on the side, like activating specific Skyview towers when I was in the area, visiting specific locations that I needed to visit, taking pictures of enemies and wildlife that I needed pictures of, defeating enemies I needed to defeat, and headshotting enemies I needed to headshot. Those last two things were helped out by the randomizer cycle occasionally making a specific enemy be able to spawn anywhere, so whenever I saw that pop up with an enemy I had a goal for, I would just hunt them down while I was on my way to the next objective. With those goals completed, we only had 2 major goal categories left, along with a few miscellaneous minor goals. Those 2 major categories were completing side quests and defeating dungeon bosses multiple times in the depths. Boy did the randomizer screw me with these. A couple of the side quests were pretty simple and straightforward, but then I also had the goal of completing the Gerudo's Colossal Fossil quest, which is the last quest in the questline, so I also had to complete Eldin and Hebra's Colossal Fossil quests. And then I also had to complete the Where Are the Wells quest, which requires you to personally visit every single well in Hyrule. What did I do to deserve this treatment? These goals were pretty tedious, so I don't have a lot to say about them. But while I was doing the Eldin's Colossal Fossil quest, one of my favorite randomizer things happened. The Randomizer Cycle has this seemingly magical way of hitting you with the perfect combination of random effects and events to really spice up gameplay. It happened so often that it kind of feels like the randomizer has a trained AI built into it that watches your gameplay and feeds you specific events in reaction to what's happening. The best example of this is when the randomizer allowed gloom hands to spawn everywhere, and right when I jumped into the fray to fight off 2 different sets of gloom hands, this happened. What? Okay, your controls have changed. This is what I was talking about yesterday. Why is the randomizer so good at giving you a combination of things to absolutely screw you over? It's okay, my attack controls are the same. Everything's fine. I'm just not going to press any other buttons and we'll see what happens. Okay, so that switched. Okay, my jump and sprint buttons changed. Everything else is mostly the same. That's not too bad. They didn't... Oh, except I went to dodge for a flurry rush, but my jump button changed. Okay, it's a little rough. Everything's fine. See, we adapt. We're fine. Alright, GG. Get wrecked, bud. Little double Phantom Ganon action, no sweat. So, I finished up those side quests, and continued mopping up some of the more minor goals until finally we were sitting at 61 out of 69 goals completed. For the most part, all we had left was fighting the dungeon bosses in the depths multiple times. Unfortunately, we discovered that the dungeon bosses don't start spawning in their depths arenas until you complete their dungeon. It makes sense, but that meant that I had to complete 3 dungeons to finish my goals, and I was already feeling pretty burnt out from finishing those super long side quests. That's when the luckiest thing that has ever happened to anyone ever happened to me. As I said in the beginning, the goal of goal mode is that once you complete all the goals, the game will allow you to fight Ganondorf and save Hyrule. But what if there was an easy way out? This is the most harrowing thing I have ever done. I wasn't paying attention to what that said, and now I'm scared. It says your nemesis Ganon can now spawn everywhere. Excellent. Wait, so then we can maybe use that as a cop-out, right? The goal is to defeat Ganondorf. The randomizer made it to where Ganondorf can spawn anywhere, and then I beat him out in the open, and so I beat Ganondorf, so I beat the game, and I didn't have to do all 69 goals. That seems like a good cop-out, right? Please, Ganondorf, spawn. Face me, Ganondorf, you coward. Ganondorf, fight me in the spring of... Hold on. Of power. Ganondorf, this is your spring. This would be so thematic and cool if you popped out to fight me here. Please. I dare you. I double dog dare you to face me here at your spring of power. Oh my god. Okay. He listened. He's trapped in the hallway. Oh shit. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. Oh god. Oh, I can't believe he listened. That was so kind of him. I wish this was actually in the spring and not in the hall. I'm kind of sad that I accidentally got him to spawn stuck in this hallway. Ganon, please just duck your fat head through here so we can fight in your spring of power. It would be so cool. Please. Okay, well then instead we're just gonna say this is thematic because, he's fighting me at the entrance to his spring of power, and the only way I can, get past him and enter the spring is by defeating him. That's how we justify that. You're so cooked, friendo. Get shitted on, dude. The deed is done. The deed is done, I'm calling it. We did what we set out to do. So that's it. I was lucky enough to be able to avoid completing my last 8 goals, but man, that was so much fun to stream. This was the 1.0 release of the Tears of the Kingdom randomizer, but development doesn't end here. Waikuteru has still been hard at work putting out tons of new updates. As of writing this script, the newest update completely revamps the random enemy spawn system. allowing them to truly spawn anywhere while also making them spawn closer to Link and in greater numbers. That sounds amazing. Thanks for watching, and follow me on YouTube and Twitch so you can catch my live streams and see these modded playthroughs before everyone else.